Happy Wednesday to everybody. Hope you are doing well wherever you are. We are at the third game of the June 13th schedule, 1987, game 412 overall in the replay. We're at Tiger Stadium, the Boston Red Sox against the Detroit Tigers. Tiger Stadium, pitcher friendly for the singles, but hitter friendly for the home runs, as you can see right there. The Tigers come into the game 33-24. And the Red Sox come in 22-38. Pitching matchup for today's game, Bob Stanley on the mound for the Red Sox, and Dan Petrie will be on the mound for the Detroit Tigers. Petrie comes to the game with a record of 5-1. His wild pitch is a 12, his walk's a 3. Holding runners not too great. He's a 4. Noakes is a +1, Petrie a +3 for a +4. Bob Stanley on the opposite end is a -4. Stanley's a -3 hold and Gedman's a -1, so he's a -4. So you got +4 and -4. And then you got a 4 wild pitch and a 0 balk there. Looking at the previous game, the first game of the series, this is the second game of a 3-game series, weekend series, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. This was a Saturday game. Looking at yesterday or Friday's game, is when Clemens beat Tanana, and the Red Sox came back and won it 7-6 against the bullpen, against Henneman and Hernandez. And Dave Henderson hit that home run to lead off the top of the ninth against Willie Hernandez to win that game 7-6. So the Red Sox won the first game of the series. Tigers trying to even the series. Excellent pitching matchup for the finale on Sunday, the 14th. And that's going to be Bruce Hurst for the Red Sox against Jack Morris of the Tigers. But that'll be the next game after that. Yes, Jeremiah, got it right here. Not ready for the ceremonial first sip just yet, but we're very, very close. Look at Dan Petrie's numbers on the regular season, real season, and on the replay, as I bring up the Strat computer. So in the real season, 9-7, 5.61 ERA for Dan Petrie. In the replay, he's 5-1 with a 4.40 ERA, so doing much better. 61 innings pitched on the replay, 48 hits, 33 walks, 36 strikeouts, I should say. So Dan Petrie, the right-hander, and you can see the lineups right there again with Buckner on the shelf. Evans is playing first base, so it really hurts their defense in right field because Greenwell is now a 4. They will eventually get Todd Benziger. He's coming in a couple of days, I do believe. So Benziger will be the one taking over at first base, and they can move Evans back to right field. But right now, they got to play it this way. Lineup for the Tigers, pretty standard, not too anything off the wall there. Ellis Burks will lead things off for Boston. On the replay, Ellis Burks is hitting .271, 7 homers, 16 driven in, and on the real season, he hit .272. So pretty good there, I would say. I mean, obviously, got a long way to go. He had 558 at bats. He's only had 144, so it's just kind of neat when those numbers do line up. So before we have the ceremonial, or before we have the actual first pitch, we're going to have the ceremonial first sip. And that is good coffee. All right. Dan Petrie facing Ellis Burks. Tomorrow we'll be in Kansas City. It'll be California and Kansas City going at it. Burks 5-8 against Petrie, and that's a strikeout. So Petrie starts things off with a strikeout of Ellis Burks. Nice way to start if you're Petrie and the Tigers. Get an early strike. Here's Marty Barrett. Barrett on the replay. Oh, don't tell me we're getting circles. I thought at first we'd get circles in the sand. Come on, Xfinity. Don't do it to me again. All right, so Marty Barrett hitting .313 on the replay. No homers, 11 driven, 293 real world. 212, and that's going to be a Lomax plus injury. So it's a good chance that Marty Barrett will have to leave this game. And they'll probably have to go to Ed Romero at second base. But we'll find out. We'll look at the injury chart. Again, that was a 212 for Lomax plus injury. The injury, if there is an injury, it'll only be for this game because we are doing as played, so he would be available tomorrow, assuming he's in the lineup and everything. But we're checking the super advanced injuries. And my rule here is 1 through 6, he can stay in the game. 7 or higher, he's got to leave the game. And he's got to leave the game. So Marty Barrett, rather, hit a line drive to third and felt something twinge in his back, so he is going to come out of the ball game. And the Red Sox actually have 2 options at second base. They could go with Glenn Hoffman, or they could go with Ed Romero. They have 2 guys that can play second base. Oddly enough, they have the exact same defensive ratings, 3 and a 25. Offensively, I think is where they're a little bit different. And considering Romero had 235 at bats and Hoffman only had 55, I think I'm going to go with Romero. Plus, he's got the better average as well. So Ed Romero will take over for the injured Marty Barrett. Romero will be at second base in the first inning. So with that being the case, being switched out so early, we're going to go ahead and just make the change right here, so it's not confusing going forward. It's going to look like Romero started the game, but he did not. It was actually Barrett. But Romero is in. And let's get his rate. He's a 3E25, so I need to fix that as well. And he runs at a 12. Right. So he's a 3E25, and he runs at a 12. So Romero will take over at second base going forward. So Marty Barrett, his 1 at bat, and that's it. And here comes Wade Boggs, third baseman. Boggs hitting 352 on the replay, 11 homers, 29 driven in. He at 363 real world. So he still hasn't gotten to his real world average yet, but he's getting closer. 1-9, that's a ballpark blast. That's a good sign, because that's a 14, and that's a 1. It's gone. Wade Boggs, home run. This was the 1 year he actually had some power. In real season, he hit 24 home runs. This was home run number 12 for Wade Boggs, RBI number 30. Look at it again, 1-9 is a clear ballpark blast. Tiger Stadium's 1-14, but that would have been out of any stadium because that's a 1. So Wade Boggs left no doubt. He takes Petrie deep. Red Sox jump early, 1-0. Here's Jim Rice. Rice is hitting 278, 4 homers, 24 driven in. He hit 277 real world. 6-4, that's a ballpark single check. That's not going to be as good for Tiger Stadium. It's only a 1, so we'll have him fly out to right field, where Herndon will grab it, and that will end the inning. But the home run from Wade Boggs puts the Red Sox in front 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the first. And Bob Stanley steps to the plate, or steps on the mound, I should say. On the actual season, he was 4-15 with a 5.01 ERA. And on the replay, he's doing even worse. He's 2-5, but his ERA is 6.85. 67 innings pitched and allowed 93 hits. 19 walks, 37 strikeouts. The walk and strikeouts not too bad, but the hits allowed compared to innings pitched is alarming, to say the least. So the Tigers looking to tee off. And on the computer, I've got to remember to bring in Ed Romero to play second base, so we don't have Marty Barrett still in there. So Romero takes over at second base. All right. Lou Whitaker. Lou Whitaker, second baseman, hitting 280 on the replay. 13 homers, 44 driven in. He at 285 real world. 4-6, and that's going to be a single. Leadoff single for Lou Whitaker. And he would normally be a threat to run, but that -4 from Stanley is going to really put that. Plus, you got some good hitters coming up, so you don't want to run yourself out of an inning. Particularly with, now, if he was a +4, we'd do it, but not a -4. But he will be held at first base. And here's Bill Madlock. First havoc roll of the game. That's a 1. Stanley's wild pitch rating is a 4, but no wild pitch. Madlock, the designated hitter, is hitting 242 on the replay. 2 homers, 2 driven in. Just 33 at bats. He hit 279 real world. 6-6, and that's going to be a fly ball to left field. Hauled in by Rice. One away. Here is Kirk Gibson. Gibson on the replay hitting 373, 11 homers, 35 driven in. He only hit 277 in real world, so he's definitely exceeded his expectations, but it's still a ways to go. He's only had 142 at bats. He had 487 real world. So long way to go. 5-11, and that's ground ball first base X. They were. Evans is now a 5 E25, so unlikely he's going to get to this. 5 and a 15. That still might be out of his range here. Let's see. 5 and a 15. 5 and a 15. He actually gets to it for a G3 where he can, make the play at first. That is a 13, and he's an E25. E25. There's no 13. There's 11, 12, and 14, but no 13. So Evans will range way to his right, get to it, and flip to Stanley covering for out number 2. And going to second base will be Whitaker. So 2 down, and now it's a clutch situation for Alan Trammell, one of the league's leading hitters. He is hitting 423. In fact, I think he is the league leading hitter right now. Hitting 423 on the replay, 14 homers, 47 driven in. He at 343 real world. In the clutch, though, he does lose a couple of hits, 1-8 and 1-9 right there together. Also will lose a hit on 2-6 just for good measure. Stanley trying to get out of the early jam. 2-12, and he does. He gets him to ground the ball to Wade Boggs. And the Red Sox maintain the 1-0 lead. Leadoff single does not come back to bite them. We go to the second. 1-0 Red Sox. Tigers cannot afford to lose to teams like Boston when they're trying to catch the Brewers, Blue Jays, and Yankees. So they got to really step it up here. Don Baylor, your designated hitter, and even though these games are in June, they still count just the same. And you can look back on in September and see what happened in June, see if the June thing cost you. Baylor hitting 243 on the replay, 6 homers, 29 driven in. He at 245 real world. That's a 5-7, and that's going to be a ground ball second base X. We're looking at Whitaker, 2E20 for Whitaker. So you would think he would make the play. 2 and a 13, he will get to it. Second base, Whitaker is a 20, and that's an 8. No error there. 3, 13, 18, and 17 the only errors, so Whitaker will make the play and retire Baylor. 1 away for Dewey Evans, having to play first base in this one again. Evans hitting 365 on the replay, 13 homers, 44 driven in exactly 200 at bats. He hit 305 real world. 112, and that's a ballpark single check, but again, only a 1, so we're going to keep the foul out to the catcher, so Matt Noakes will grab that in foul territory. 2 quick outs, and Mike Greenwell in right field. Steps to the plate. Greenwell hitting 304 on the replay, 10 homers, 23 driven in. He hit 328 real world. 6-5, and that's an in-home run chance, 1-9, but that's an 18, so he'll settle with a double. Greenwell will have himself a double. For Greenwell, double number 11 on the season. He had 31 of those doubles real world. And now he's in scoring position with 2 outs, a clutch situation for Spike Owen. Shortstop, Spike Owen in the clutch. Gains a couple of hits here. 110 and 112 turn into hits. Switch hitting shortstop. Spike Owen only hitting 186 on the replay, a homer and 6 driven in. He at 259 real world. So he's definitely underperforming and can use a clutch hit right about now. 5-3, switch hitter. Fly ball right field X. We're looking at Herndon, though. 4E4. So the 4 is a little troubling there. May not get to it. 4 and 8, I don't think he is going to get to that. I believe that's going to drop. 4 and 8 is definitely going to drop. Single 2 stars. That'll score the run. RBI single from Spike Owen. That's a 7. I don't think that's going to cause Herndon any problems. No, it won't. But it's a single 2 stars. And, oops, didn't want to make a double there. Got the 2 in my mind. It's a single 2 stars that will score Greenwell. And the Red Sox lead it 2-0. Bob Stanley needs all the runs he can get. Number 9 hitter Rich Gedman is up. Owen could think about running here. Wouldn't be a bad move with 2 outs. Try to get in scoring position. And again, you have the +4 for Petrie. So if he gets the lead, we're talking a 1-17. That's pretty good odds. So we're going to try to get the lead here. 2 or a 4-5-6 gets him the lead. 11, he gets picked off. That's a 3. He does not get the lead. He needed a 2 or a 4-5-6. That's a 3, so he does not get the lead. So cannot steal, or it wouldn't be smart to try to steal now without a lead. So he'll hold, and here's Rich Gedman, number 9 hitter. He's hitting 158 on the replay. No homers, 10 driven in. He hit 205 real world. That's a 6-6, and that's a 1-3 triple. That's a 2, but we're gonna give Gedman the double. We're gonna adjust that down to a double because he did not have any triples real world. So it will be an RBI double, but I will allow the RBI to score. We're gonna make it a double. But we're gonna make it a double where everybody scores. So Owen will score on the double. 3-0 Red Sox. So I'm not going to take away the RBI he would have gotten on a triple, but I am not going to allow him, a slow-running catcher like that, to go for a triple. All right, here is Ellis Burks. It's exactly what the Strat computer does as well. All right, Ellis Burks struck out his first time. Petrie in trouble. It's 3-0 Red Sox now. 6-9, and that's going to be a strikeout for Petrie. So funny, he's only had 2 strikeouts. He's gotten Ellis Burks twice. He's had trouble with just about everybody else, but the leadoff man, Ellis Burks, he has managed to strike out twice, but the Red Sox lead it 3-0. Tigers in deep trouble. They get their bats going here against Mr. Stanley. Matt Noakes will lead it off. Matt Noakes. Yeah, Justin, cooking the books because I suck. Don't believe me, just ask, are you ready? But, I play through my suckness. So, all right, here's Matt Noakes. He's hitting 297, 16 homers, 50 driven in. He hit 289 real world. 210, and that's going to be a ballpark blast, 1-14, but that's a 15. Just on the warning track, Greenwell makes the catch. 1 away. Here's Pat Sheridan. Sheridan hitting 253, 3 homers, 17 driven in, hitting 259 on the replay, on the real world. 5-10, and that's a strikeout for Stanley. His first strikeout of the ball game. Stanley going for a shutdown inning here, trying to get his team back in the dugout to score more runs. Here's Darrell Evans. Evans hitting 286 on the replay, 16 homers, 40 driven in. He hit 257 real world. 4-6, and that's going to be a single off of Stanley. Evans no threat to run. That brings up Larry Herndon, the right fielder. Herndon is hitting 293 on the replay, 4 homers, 13 driven in. He hit 324 real world. That's a 2. Pass ball. No balk for Stanley. He cannot balk, so he holds. 6-8. 6-8, and that's a single to right. I'm sorry, single to center field. My bad. Single to center. Burks is a 0 arm. Evans not being held as an 11. 2 outs makes him a 13. But do you really want to make that third out there? I don't think you do. So they're going to hold him at second base. So 2 singles. after the first two are out, and now Tom Brookens in a clutch situation with a chance to get the Tigers on the board. Loses a couple of hits here on 2-9 and 210. On the replay, Brookens is hitting .255, 4 homers, 19 driven in. He had .241 real world. Clutch situation for Brookens. 1-7, and he fails. Ground ball to Boggs, and that will end the inning. Yeah, Justin, without the Strat computer, I would have never known about that adjustment. I'm not sure why there's not at least a mention of it as an option in the rule book. Not that you have to do it. I mean, games are very customizable. So, like I say, play the way you want to play it. If you want to give Gedman the triple, I don't see anything wrong with that. Like I said, it's your game. Play it your way. All right, so here's Ed Romero. This is his first at bat since coming in for the injured Marty Barrett. Barrett's hitting .308 on the replay. No homers, 10 driven in. He at .272 real world. 2-4, and that's going to be a straight out single for Ed Romero. Leadoff single. Romero, no threat to run. Here comes Wade, first time up. Like I said, this was the one-year Boggs. He had 24 home runs this year. 87 was a power year for, I don't know if it was juiced up baseball or corks in the bats or what it was, but 6-6. 1-3 is a triple, 4-20 is a single. Single 2 stars for Boggs. Red Sox have runners at the corners, and boy, Petrie's getting knocked around quite a bit. Here's Jim Rice. Hate to go to the bullpen this early. Might have to, although in the previous game, if we look at the score sheet from the previous game, they used Henneman for 2 innings, Hernandez for 1 inning. So the long relievers like Eric King and Mark Thurman, they are well rested. So it could be a bullpen day. You never know. All right, here's Rice. Infield looking for the double play. They got to have outs. 6-8, and that's a walk. That's not going to help the cause. It's going to load the bases. That is the first walk issued by Petrie, but now the bases are loaded with nobody out. And up steps Don Baylor. They're still back for the double play. You've got to get out. You can give up 1 run, but you can't give up 3 or 4. They can come back from 1 run. They can't come back from 3 or 4 runs. That's a 5-5. That's a fly ball left field B. That's a sacrifice fly by Don Baylor. All Gibson can do is throw it to third base. Romero will whisk across the plate on the sacrifice fly by Don Baylor. And the Red Sox take a 4-0 lead. Now first and second, 1 out. A double play would get him out of the inning. And here is Dwight Evans. That's a 2-5 for Evans, and that's a ballpark blast right there. 1-11, but that's a 14. If he was a lefty, it would have been a home run, but not a righty. Just a deep fly to left for 2, and Petrie on the edge there of almost collapsing. Here's Greenwell. Clutch situation for Greenwell, and he loses a hit on 2-3 at 2-8. 1-4, and that's a fly to right to end the inning. So all things considered, Petrie gets out of there pretty fortunate with only 1 run. To have bases loaded, nobody out, and only give up 1 run is not bad at all. Keeps his team in the game. And they do have the offensive capability, particularly against a guy like Bob Stanley. They just haven't shown it the first time through the order. See if the second time seeing Stanley will help them in their cause. Whitaker, the leadoff man, singled his first time up. Made it to second base, but made it no further. 4-3, ballpark single, but again, only a 1-2. So that is going to be a line drive to second base for 1 away. 1 down, and that will send up Bill Madlock. Madlock flew to left field his first chance. 4-7, and that's a ground ball to Romero. 3E25 for Romero. 3 and a 4. That's interesting. I think he might get to it. We'll see. No, he will not. 3 and a 4 is going to be a single 1 star. What nobody's on base doesn't matter. But that's a 17, so we got to have an error to go along with that. He is an E25 at second base. Do we have a 17? We got a 2-base error. How about that on the 17? It's a 2-base error under the E25. 2-base error. So it's a single plus a 2-base error. So Madlock singles, then he'll make it all the way to third on the E4. So now Madlock is at third base with only 1 out. So right there, missing Marty Barrett cost the Red Sox right there dearly. Here's Kirk Gibson. Infield for the Red Sox is back. They lead him 4-0. They just want to get it out. Keep a big inning from happening. 1-6, and that's a strikeout. That's a good way to do it. If you're Stanley, he strikes out Gibson. Strikeout number 2, and now it's going to take probably a 2-out hit or error or something. Wild pitch or something for Alan Trammell to get the run home. Clutch situation for Trammell, and again, he loses hits in 3 spots, 1-8, 1-9, and 2-6. Stanley trying to pitch out of the mess and pick up his teammate Romero. 1-6, he won't do it. 1-2 is a 1-2 is a triple. That's a 15. It'll be a double, an RBI double for Alan Trammell, and now that run's going to be an earned run because Madlock would have most likely scored on that double. The computer will call that an earned run now. Out. But an RBI double for Trammell gives the players on the board, cuts the lead to 4-1. And here's Matt Noakes. He's also in a clutch situation. And in the clutch for Noakes, he will lose a couple hits right in the middle of the card, 2-6, 2-7, and 3-5. Hello, Dr. D. 4-9, and that's 1-4 for a triple. That's a 16, so he'll hit a double. So back-to-back double. So that run there is definitely earned now, no question about it. 2 runs are in. It's now a 4-2 ball game. So the Tigers, second time seeing Bob Stanley, they're teeing off a little bit more. Here's Pat Sheridan, also a clutch situation for Sheridan. He loses 2 hits, 3-5 and 3-10. Everywhere else he's okay. That's a 3-5, and that's one of the ones he's going to lose the hit on. So he's going to lose that clutch hit. That would have been a single, but the anti-clutch Omega symbol's right there, and it's going to be a pop-up to second base to end the inning. So unfortunately for Sheridan, he found his anti-clutch roll. Prevents a third run from coming across the plate. At the end of 3, it's Boston 4, Detroit 2. Jeremiah, I don't know the answer to that, but the only one I'm aware of is that one about the triples. I don't know of any other rule. I mean, there are some max rules on the computer you can use. I think that's part of the max rules. There may be something else, but not that I'm aware of off the top of my head. But it does make sense. If it was a slow-running catcher and he never had a triple, why give him one? It's not very realistic. Here's Spike Owen. 5-5, and that's going to be a fly to center field. But then again, if you want to play it where he gets a triple, go for it. Your game, you can set it up the way you wish. As long as you're consistent, that's all that really makes any difference, so that you're doing the same thing over and over and over. Here's Gedman. 5-11, and that's a ballpark single check. That's a 13, so we're not going to have to worry about anything like that. That's going to be a line out to second base. Quickly 2 away, so Petrie trying to right the ship. Here's Ellis Burks. He struck out twice. He's the only one that hasn't been able to figure Petrie out. 1-7, and he still hasn't figured him out. He struck him out for the 3rd time. He's got the hat trick. Rough game for Ellis Burks. 3 strikeouts for Petrie. They've all been on Ellis Burks. But a 3-up, 3-down inning for Petrie, his first 3-up, 3-down inning of the game. And he does a shutdown inning and gets his team right back out there, not giving Bob Stanley much rest. And his team's ready to start pounding again, try to get them leveled up in this ball game. Here's Darrell Evans. 6-7, and that's a single. So even though it was 4-0, I was not counting the Tigers out whatsoever. One, they've got a good offense, and two, you've got Bob Stanley on the mound. And that's a rough combination in any world. Here's Larry Herndon. Of course, Evans not being held, not going to go anywhere. 6-8, and that's another single. This one to center field, and first and second, nobody out to start the inning. For Tom Brookins, third baseman. He's an A bunter, but I think you got Stanley in the ropes. You're not going to bunt here to get the runners in scoring position. You're looking to put on 3 or 4 runs this inning. So we're going to eschew the bunt here, even though that could be a prudent play. We're going to eschew that and go straight to the at bat. 1-8, well, it almost cost us a double play, but 1-8's a fielder's choice. 6-4. But I felt like you had to give Brookins a chance to get a hit. So 6-4 fielder's choice puts runners at the corners with 1 out. Brookins will be held but won't go anywhere at first base. And Lou Whitaker, the batter, he's 1 for 2. Red Sox playing back for the ending double play if they can turn it. That's a 1-8. It's a 1-6 single. That's a 13, so he lines it to second base, and that keeps everybody at where they're supposed to be. 2 down now. It's a clutch situation for Madlock. And in the clutch, he gained some hits. 1-9 and 1-11 turn into hits for Mr. Madlock. Tying runs are on base. 5-9, and that's a fly to center. Burks puts it away, and Bob Stanley pitches around the 2 leadoff singles and gets out of the inning. We go to the 5th. It is 4-2 Red Sox. Hello, Tribe fan, Tim. Flea baseball fan, all sorts of different names there. Here's Ed Romero. For people that came in late, Barrett was a starting second baseman, but he got injured on his first at bat, so Romero took over at second base. Romero singled and scored in his first at bat. 2-11, and he's going to single again. So Romero 2 for 2 since coming in. He will not try to go anywhere, will not be held. Here's Wade Boggs. He's homered and singled 2 for 2. He's upped his average now to 357. He hit 363 real world, so he's almost there now. Get a 6-9. That's a strikeout, though. Petrie, a big strikeout there. Strikeout number 4 on the game for Mr. Petrie. Brings up Jim Rice now. Double play. Could get him out of the inning, or would get him out of the inning, actually. Hello, Joel. Good to see you. Rice. 1-3. That's a fly ball to right. 2 down. Two outs for Don Baylor. Romero's still stuck at first base. 4-5, and that's a strikeout for Petrie. Strikeout number 5. He's turned it around. Now he's waiting for his run support to bail him out. We go to the bottom of the 5th. Still 4-2. Stanley out. And that was, by the way, that was Petrie's fatigue, and he gave up 1 single, so he's still okay. But he got 5 for his fatigue, so he can 6 without any issue. Stanley's fatigue is the 6, so he's certainly okay. And Kirk Gibson, who's 0 for 2, steps to the plate. 1-4, and that's a ground ball to Boggs. So Gibson 0 for 3. Came in like a ball of fire with his batting average being so high, but he's been shut down. Here's Trammell. He had the RBI double his last time up. He's 1 for 2. 6-6 on Stanley is a fly to left. Jim Rice is there, 2 down. So that's been part of Stanley's success. I mean, he's holding Gibson and Trammell, who are both hitting near 4. Trammell's over 400. Gibson's just right there. Held him to 1 for 6 with a double, which is not bad for those two in 3 and 6 at bats. Here's Noakes. 3-7 for Noakes. He's going to strike out. And that is strikeout number 3 for Stanley. 2-3 inning for Stanley. We go to the 6th. Still a 4-2 ball game. So Stanley surviving that rough 3rd inning. Maybe he's found his second wind or something. See what he can do. Top of the 6th. And we have Dewey Evans. 4-4, and that's a ground ball third base. Actually, we're looking at Brookins. He's a 3-E-21 for Brookins. 3 and a 5. That's going to be interesting. 3 and a 5 is a G3 pound, so he'll get to it. That's a 13, and Brookins is an E21. There's no 13 there, so Brookins makes a nice play. And we'll throw out Dwight Evans. 1 away. And that will bring up Mike Greenwell, right fielder. 4-3, and that's a ground ball first base X. We're looking at Darrell Evans. Got to make sure I got the 2 Evans here. We got 2 Evans playing first base, Darrell and Dwight. So Darrell Evans is a 4-E5. 4-16, he'll get to that. E5 and a 9 shouldn't be a problem. It is not. So Evans will get it and flip to Petrie covering. 2 down. 2 up, 2 down for Spike Owen. Owen is 1 for 2 with a run scored. 3-11. And he's the ballpark single check, but again, only a 1-2. So he will just line it to second base to end the inning. So Petrie can keep going that 1-2-3 inning. He's got endurance into the 7th. We go to the bottom of the 6th. This is the fatigue inning for Bob Stanley, so we'll keep an eye on that. Sheridan will be your leadoff man. He's 0 for 2. 1-5, and he's going to strike out. Boy, Bob Stanley's getting his second win for sure as he puts the K on Sheridan. And there's 1 away for Darrell Evans, who is 2 for 2. 1-12, he's going to ground it to second. Romero is there, 2 down. For Larry Herndon, he's also 2 for 2. 6-4, and that is a line out to second base. There's a dot there, but he's not tired yet, so Romero will snag it, and Stanley will keep full endurance into the 7th inning. So I thought it would be a high-scoring game, but it's actually turned out to be a pretty close game and not that much, nothing out of the ordinary for runs scored. Pitching has settled in over the last 3 innings, all goose eggs. Here's Gedman to lead off the top of the 7th. 6-8, and that's going to be a walk. Walk by Petrie. Bullpen for the Tigers starting to stir now as Petrie is probably on his last gasp. And they're looking at left-hander Mark Thurmond loosening in their bullpen. So we'll get Mark Thurmond ready. He is loosening in the Tiger bullpen. Sparky said, get up and throw. So there you go. Mark Thurmond is loosening. Gedman will not be held for obvious reasons. And here's Ellis Burks, who happens to be 0 for 3 with 3 Ks in this game. For some reason, he can't figure Petrie out. 3-8, and that's a ground ball to third B, so it's going to be a fielder's choice as Brookins will throw Gedman out at second. Burks reaches on the fielder's choice. But now Burks has a chance to steal second base and get himself into scoring position. as he needs a 5 or a 6 to get a lead, and that +4 is just too tempting not to try it, obviously. 5 or 6, he gets the lead. Does not get the lead, so he will hold. He will hold, and here comes Ed Romero, who is 2 for 2. 3-8, make him 3 for 3 as he gets a single 2 stars. That'll move Burks over to third base. And that's going to be it for Mr. Petrie. Sparky's going to make the move right here for the left-hander Thurman to take on Wade Boggs. So Petrie will end up going 6 1/3. And Mark Thurman, the lefty, will be coming on. Can't close the book on Petrie. He's responsible for both of these runners. So he could give up as many as 6 runs, depending on what happens here on out. We can say he gave up 8 hits, and he walked 2 and struck out 5. So now Mark Thurman, he is a 0 hold. So we've got a 1 for him, +1 on the hold. Thurman will bring him on the computer to come in and face the lefty Wade Boggs. Get his numbers. Thurman is on the real season 0-1 with a 4.23 ERA and 5 saves. He's done much worse in the replay though. He's 2-2 with a 10.05 ERA and 5 saves. Listen to these numbers: 29 innings pitched, 49 hits allowed, 15 walks, and 11 strikeouts. So he's just been gosh awful. But he's left-handed. He's the only lefty they have other than Willie Hernandez. So they're going to trust him here, see if he can get Wade Boggs to hit into a double play. He does have some ground ball A's on his card, so it's certainly feasible that he could do it. Boggs. 3-7. Oh, it's a walk. 3-8 would have been a double play, but 3-7 is a walk. It's going to load the bases. Danger Will Robinson territory right here as Jim Rice is coming to the plate. Right-hander Eric King is loosening the bullpen as well, but they're going to try to get Thurman to get through this inning. Bases are loaded, 1 out. Jim Rice, again, loaded with ground ball A's, so he's definitely a double play candidate. And they're going to be looking to turn that double play. 2-8, and they get it right on cue. 5-4-3 around the horn double play on the 2-8, and Thurman gets him out of the inning. Not the Giovanni's Tailor Shop tailor-made double play, but certainly a double play that they can enjoy nonetheless. 5-4-3 around the horn. And talk about doing the job. Mark Thurman did the job. So we capped Petrie at 4 runs. They were all earned. And that's going to be his outing, but he's subject to drop to 5-2 unless his team can come back and tie this game at least. So 7th inning stretch we go. Bob Stanley firing all cylinders. He has retired 8 in a row. So obviously he's not worried about being fatigued right now. We are able to pinch hit now since we're in the 7th inning. Brookins is your leadoff hitter. Do they pinch hit for Brookins? That's a strong possibility. You lose something on the defensive end, but you really need offense right now. Question is, they don't have much on the bench. That's the problem. That is your big problem, is they don't have much on the bench. Only lefty they have is John Grubb. Chet Lemon is 277, but he's been horrible all year long. Boy, you might just have to stick with Brookins here. Last game, he did all right, I believe. Let me check Brookins. Brookins homered his last game, but he's been struggling. So we're going to stick with Brookins. 210, and it pays off with a base hit. So Sparky reconsidered, stuck with Brookins, and it paid off. So the veteran Brookins gets a leadoff single. And he can steal, but with that -4 from Stanley, you're not going to do that, especially down 2 runs. And here's Lou Whitaker, who is 1 for 3. They are holding Brookins on, though. 3-7, and that's a double. Solid double for Lou Whitaker right there. Straight out double to left field. Brookins being held is only a 12, so he will not, down 2 runs, and nobody out, they will not risk it whatsoever. Second and third, tying runs are in scoring position. Now the Boston bullpen all of a sudden is scurrying into action. They do have left-hander Joe Sambito and right-hander Steve Crawford. They are both loosening in the bullpen. So you've got lefty Joe Sambito and you got right-hander Steve Crawford. Double barrel action in the Red Sox bullpen as McNamara says, get up and throw. We may need you quicker than we thought. Stanley will now face Madlock. Second and third, nobody out. Infield is back. They need outs. They don't want to play the infield in and give up a 2-run single that ties the game. So infield is back. Stanley could use one of those strikeouts again. 1-2. How about that? You get a Lomax plus injury. This could be a triple play. It could possibly be a triple play. It's not guaranteed in the super advanced game. In the basic game, it's a triple play, or the advanced game, I believe it's a triple play. But I think it's super advanced, and we'll check the rule book, and I'll do it by the rules. Line out to third base max. So he's going to line it to Boggs, and we also have to check for injury as well. But it's going to at least be a double play. It could be a triple play. Very possible. So we'll go to the rule book, and it's a very brief little section on these Lomaxes, but it depends on how you want to play it, what option you're using as far as the rules go. So where let me find it in the rule book. Here we go. Right here on page number 7 of the rule book, 17.2 rule, super advanced. If you're playing advanced, then it's line out as many outs as possible like the basic game. But we're doing super advanced. So it says when this result occurs in a situation where a triple play could occur, the result is not automatically a triple play. Instead, roll the 20-sided die. If the roll is 1-7, it's a line out triple play. If the roll is 8-20, it's a line out double play with the lead runner being doubled off. Okay. So that means, obviously, with the ball hit the third, that would mean that Boggs would step on the bag and double off Brookins. But it's a 1-7, it would be a triple play, and I have not had a triple play in this replay to date. So this will be a first. And I don't know if I had a triple play. I don't know if I've ever had a triple play, to be honest with you. I haven't really thought about it, but I know it hadn't been in this replay. But on a 1-7, we're going to have our triple play. 17, it'll just be a double play. So he steps on third base, does Boggs, to double off Brookins. So there are 2 outs now, but we got to check for injury. Whitaker stays at second base. We will now check for injury. An injury chance on Madlock, since it was a Lomax plus injury. And again, we're going back to this. So 1-6, he can stay in the game. 7 or higher, he's got to come out. And he's got to come out. So adding injury to the insult, he will have to leave this game, and we'll need a new DH for the Tigers. And it looks like they will go with, boy, who do you go with here? They're all pretty bad. Man, we'll go with Johnny Grubb. He's left-handed, so we'll go with Johnny Grubb. Johnny Grubb will take over at DH. He's going to be the DH in the 8th inning. Forward. So this is now Grubb. And Grubb runs at a 10 just like Madlock did, so there's no need to change anything there. But boy, that has really quieted this Tiger Stadium crowd, and now Kirk Gibson is up with Whitaker at second base. You do have Sambito ready, and I think they're going to go make the move to the bullpen. After that line drive, hard hit ball, I don't think McNamara wants to see anything else. So Joe Sambito will be coming on to face Kirk Gibson. Stanley's going to go 6 2/3. And he's going to give up 10 hits. He scattered 10 hits, but has only given up 2 runs. He could give up a third run. He can win it, but he can't lose it. And he struck out 4, walking. I don't think he walked anybody now to look at this. He did not. Well, he had impeccable control, didn't walk anybody. He's either going to give up 2 runs or 3 runs, depending on if Whitaker scores or not. So Bob Stanley will leave the game. And Joe Sambito will be coming on. So we'll go to the computer and bring in Sambito. Crawford's still loosening in case Sambito can't get the job done. On the real season, Sambito 2-6, a 6.93 ERA and no saves. On the replays, 0-2 with a 5.60 ERA, but he does have 2 saves. But he's not worried about a save right now. He's worried about just getting Kirk Gibson out. That's the big deal. It is a clutch situation against lefties. Kirk Gibson will lose a hit on 3-2, and that's it. Everywhere else he is neutral. Sambito to Gibson. 3-2, and that's he just hit the anti-clutch roll. He has 1 anti-clutch roll on his card, and he just found it. What are the odds of that? Well, what is that? 1 in 36? Whatever that percentage is, he just found it. 3-2. And for those that don't like to play with the clutch, you can say, hey, they wouldn't have scored a run anyway, just 1 star. But we play clutch here at Super Advanced, and that's going to turn out to be a pop to second. So Sambito, because of the anti-clutch on Gibson, does the job, closing the book on Stanley. And how about that? Second and third, nobody out, and the Tigers can't score. The Lomax double play and then the anti-clutch pop out. And that's going to make it to the 8th inning. The score still 4-2. Almost had our first ever triple play, but Boggs just couldn't quite turn the triple play, but he did get the double play, and then the anti-clutch from Gibson kind of finished it off. All right, here's Thurman back out. He got a traditional double play out of Jim Rice last time. So we'll see what he does here against Don Baylor. We start the 8th, still 4-2, favor the Red Sox, even though the Tigers about hit them 10-8. 3-6, and that's going to be a ground ball to short by Baylor. So Thurman gets the out there. On the 3-6, it was short, not third. Okay. 1 away, and that's going to bring up Dwight Evans with Greenwell on deck. That's a 5-9. Right-handed ground ball to second. There's a dot there, but obviously just in his second inning of work, so he's not tired. 2 up, 2 down for the lefty-lefty matchup with Mike Greenwell. Two 4 for Greenwell. That's a ballpark single check, but it's only a 1-2. That's a 3, so he just missed it. He will pop it up to third base, and Thurman does the job. We go to the bottom of the 8th, still 4-2. Sambito is going to stay out there. You got a righty Trammell, but then you got 3 lefties in a row, so might force Sparky's hand to try here, particularly for somebody like Pat Sheridan who doesn't face lefties all that much. So Sambito, 3-5. That's a leadoff single for Alan Trammell. Brings the tying run to the plate. And now Calvin Schiraldi has started loosening in the Red Sox bullpen. He is their closer. And he can certainly go 2 innings to close the game if he needs to. But right now, Matt Noakes, lefty-lefty. You're not going to pinch hit for Noakes. He does pretty well against lefties, so you're not going to worry about that. 4-4, and that's a ballpark single check. That's still not going to – that's a fly to left, 1 away. So the way Tiger Stadium gives you home runs, it takes away the singles. And now here's Sheridan, and that's where they're going to make a move to the bench, and they will bring in Chet Lemon to pinch hit, and he'll take over in center field. But they're going to bring in Chet Lemon to pinch hit for Sheridan. Sparky going to the right-hander. So we'll bring in Lemon. Pinch hit in the 8th and center field in the 9th. So Lemon is up to bat. We'll bring him on in the computer, get his numbers. Lemon on the replay is only hitting 210, 3 homers, 15 driven in, but on the real season he hit 277. He's just been struggling on the replay, but against a lefty like Zambito, McNamara thinks he might come through. That's a 311, and that's a line out to second base. So Lemon will line it right to Romero for out number 2. Hello, ID. Didn't see you sneak in there. Darrell Evans is your batter. Now, he can face lefties pretty well. He faced lefties 30% of the time, so lefties don't really bother him. And I think I've pretty much settled in ID on my NBC game of the week, and it will be 1989 Fall Classic. I've already owned the set, so why go buy another one when I've got a set I haven't used? Doesn't make any sense, especially I just paid for what I'm going to be paying for our electric bill. So need to conserve some money here. No sense going out and buying a new set when I've already got a set. So here's Darrell Evans. Lefty-lefty matchup. 110, and that's going to be would be a clutch single had the runner been in scoring position, but he's at first base. So it's just going to be a fly out, and that's going to end the inning. And that'll do it for Zambito. He did the job. They will bring in Schiraldi to try to close it out in the 9th. Zambito is going to give up 1 hit. Nothing else. No walks, no strikeouts. And he did what needed to be done for the Red Sox. So coming in to play center field on the computer will be Chet Lemon. Whoops. Get over here. Fly out. Get over there. Come on. Fly out. Okay, now center field. We need to bring in Chet Lemon on the computer. Moving from a pinch hit to a center fielder. Thurman. He's going to stay in there. He's facing switch hitter Owen, a lefty Gedman, and then Burks. So they're going to let Thurman keep going. Why not? He's pitched well. He walked the first batter he faced, but after that, he's retired 4 in a row. So Thurman facing Spike Owen. It's 4-2 Red Sox, top of the 9th. It's a 2-3, and that's going to be a split chance. 1-7 is a single. That happens to be a 7 right on the number. So Spike Owen, a leadoff single. Now, Gedman, they could pinch hit for Gedman, actually, and bring in Mark Sullivan, who's a better catcher. It's probably the best way to go if you are the Red Sox. So let's see what they've got on the bench, right-handed wise. They do have Dave Henderson can pinch hit, and they could bring in Mark Sullivan to catch. So that's what they're going to do. Gedman's going to be pulled. Mark Sullivan, much better catcher. So we're going to have Henderson come on to pinch hit. And then we'll have Sullivan catch. Sparky might be looking to bring in a right-hander as well, as the wheels are turning in both dugouts. All right, so Dave Henderson, Hendu, only a 234 hitter and 184 at bats, but he does have 8 home runs. We'll see if they stick with Thurman. First of all, we'll bring him on the Henderson on in the computer as the pinch hitter, get his numbers on the replay. On the replay, he's hitting 257, 11 homers, 28 driven in. He's already surpassed his home run total by 3. He only had 8 home runs real world. He's already had 11. And he's got 40 more at bats, according to the Strat computer. So we'll see how they play it. Thurman facing Henderson. Owen is at first base, but I don't think he is +1. Nah, not very good odds to steal, so we'll leave it alone. 2-5, and that is a strikeout. So Thurman strikes out the pinch hitter Henderson. 1 away, and now Sullivan will take over behind the plate. Here's Ellis Burks. He's had a bad day. He's 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. Thurman solidly doing the job out of the pen for the Tigers. 6-8 for Thurman, and that's a ground ball shortstop X. This possible double play, definitely a possible double play. Trammell's a 1E21 with a right-handed batter. He's not responsible for holding the runner, so he keeps his 1E21. So this could be a tailor-made double play. 1 and a 9 is a G1. Anything on a 1 almost is a G1. Anything above a 6. So there's a G1. That's a 15. That's the only thing you had to worry about. E21 and a 15. And look at that. E21, Alan Trammell has a 15 right there for his error. And what do you know? We have a 15. So it should have been a double play. But Trammell, the usually reliable Trammell, boots it. And that could come back to really bite him. Should have been out of the inning. That should have been a tailor-made double play. And it wasn't. So Ed Romero is on. Tiger bullpen, I don't know who they have that's fresh. They've used a couple of good ones yesterday. Let's see who they've got still left that they can go to. Eric King has got rest. He's not very good, though, but we may have to, although you hate to blame Thurman for bad fielding. And you still have lefty Boggs. They're going to stick with Thurman. They got lefty Boggs coming up. So they're going to stick with Thurman. First and second, 1 out. I'm going to stick with him against Romero. Romero is 3 for 3 since coming in for the injured Marty Barrett. 1-4. It gets him to line it to third base right to Brookins. 2 down. So 2 outs for Wade Boggs and now a clutch situation for Boggs. In the clutch against lefties, he will lose hits on 1-8 and 1-10. Thurman walked Boggs when he first came in the game. 6-4, and that's a ballpark single check. That's a 13. He needed a 2. That's a fly to left, and that's going to end the inning. So Thurman does the job, keeps the score right where it is. He's going to go 2 2/3 of shutout relief. And let's see, he walked 1, struck out 1, and gave up a hit, but no runs, which was more important. And now Calvin Schiraldi will be coming in to pitch for the Red Sox. He's a +4 hold. Sullivan is a 0 arm, so it is going to be a +4. That could come into play possibly. But he's still your closer. You're going to bring him in regardless. So, with that, fly out to left field. We will go to the bottom of the 9th, and the computer is telling me bring in Mark Sullivan, which we will do, in place of Henderson. Or you know what they're going to do here? They're going to bring in Sullivan. No, they're not going to be double switches. We'll just leave it alone. So Sullivan will catch and bat in the 9th spot. And Calvin Schiraldi coming on to try to save the game for the Red Sox. So Schiraldi, real season, 8-5, 4.41 ERA and 6 saves. On the replays, 3-4 with a 4.88 ERA and 5 saves. So he is going to try to match his save total right here, going for save number 6. And the scheduled hitters are Herndon, Brookins, and Whitaker. On the Tiger bench, not much left. They do have Jim Whalewander and Terry Harper and Mike Heath. So Mike Heath is certainly a possibility. He's a pretty good hitter. So, but although Brookins did get a single last time when he was up, so we'll have to play it by ear and see what Sparky thinks. But right now, Larry Herndon, who is a good hitter, 324 hitter, you're not going to pinch hit for him. So Larry Herndon will lead it off against Schiraldi. Bottom of the 9th, 4-2 Red Sox. Tigers really need this win. They don't want to lose the first 2 games to the Red Sox. When you're trying to catch the leaders, you can't afford to lose to the bottom feeders. 5-2 for Schiraldi is a solid single. So leadoff single for Herndon. That will bring the tying run to the plate. And I think they will go to the bench. They're going to need another. They got a feeling they need a good hitter here. And the best hitter they have on the bench is Mike Heath. And if need be, he could play first base. He could play third base if need be. So Mike Heath will pinch hit for Brookins. Sparky says, Brookins, you did all right when I stuck with you in the 7th, but I don't trust you in the 9th. So Mike Heath will be coming on to pinch hit for Brookins. He's the best average on the bench that's remaining. When you got Harper, Heath, Grubb, and Whale Wander. Actually, Grubb's the DH. What am I doing? Grubb is now the DH. In place of Madlock because Madlock got injured. I forgot about that. All right, so it's going to be Mike Heath. But again, the only guys left are Harper and Whale Wander and Heath. So Heath's the best option. We go to Heath. On the real season, Heath was a 281 hitter, 8 homers, 33 driven in. He's hitting 268 on the replay with 3 home runs, 16 driven in. He is a tying run at the plate. Herndon, no threat to run, but his run really doesn't matter. It's the runs behind him. So even a fast runner would not steal because that run doesn't matter. We have the havoc roll though. 4-8 on Schiraldi. That's a strikeout. So he strikes out Mike Heath. And he would have struck out anybody in that situation because only guys on the bench. Well, Whale Wander's a lefty. 480 would have walked him, but you're not going to pinch hit with Whale Wander. Sorry. Nobody's got that kind of foresight. All right, here's Whitaker, second baseman. Schiraldi to Whitaker. 4-11. That's a ground ball first base X. They're not holding Herndon on, so Dwight Evans is a 4E25 at first base. 4-7, this could be interesting. I think he'll get to it, though. 4-7 is a G3 pound, but since he wasn't holding anybody on, the pound's irrelevant. So I guess if you had a fast runner, you could have put him in there and forced him to hold him, and that would have gotten a base hit, but you're reaching for straws if you're thinking that far in advance. So it's a ground ball to first. His only play is to get to the bag, but we'll check for an error. That's a 4, and he is an E25 at first base. There's no 4 there. There's a 3, but no 4. So Evans, hello, Kevin. Good to see you. Evans will make the play and flip it to Schiraldi covering. So Whitaker is out 3-1 with Herndon going to second base. But now there are 2 outs. Tigers down to their final out. And it is Johnny Grubb. As Grubb came in for the injured Madlock. And if you want to pinch hit for Grubb, all you have is Terry Harper or Jim Whale Wander. But I don't think you want to do that. A lot of walks here for Schiraldi. He gives up a lot against lefty hitters, so they're almost bucking to get off Schiraldi's card. It is a clutch situation for Grubb, and in the clutch, he loses a hit on 1-3, also loses hits on 3-8 and 3-10. So he is the tying run at the plate. He does have normal power. He could put one out. He gets a ballpark blast. 3-7, though. He struck him out, and that's the ball game. Calvin Schiraldi gets it done, and the Red Sox defeat the Tigers and take the first 2 games of the series, winning it by the score of 4-2. If you're into second guessing, Terry Harper as a pinch hitter on a 3-7 would have struck out. Jim Whale Wander also would have struck out. So no matter who I wanted to bring in there, they would have struck out by the dice roll. So it didn't matter. So I just left Grubb, and that was it. Schiraldi gets his 6th save to tie his season total. Gives up a hit, but strikes out 2. And preserves the win for the Red Sox. And now my pen is dying on me. I need a bullpen pen is what I need here. Because now that's dying on me. Great, right at the wrong time. If I can get this thing to sometimes it does this and then it reboots later, but right now I just have to leave it as is because it's not producing anything, unfortunately. So I'll have to see if it's truly out of ink and needs a replacement ink cartridge or whether it's just having its issues at the moment. But whatever way, I'll go and give you the totals by hand or by verbal as we go to the box score. More importantly for the Tigers, they dropped to 33-25, which is not going to help their cause trying to catch the Blue Jays and the Brewers. So 2 runs, 12 hits, and 1 error for the Red Sox. For the Tigers. 4 runs, 9 hits, and 1 error for Boston. Boston left 8 on base. Tigers left 9. The win to Stanley, he goes to 3-5. If you count holds, Joe Sambito would get his 3rd hold. 6th save for Schiraldi. Petrie drops to 5-2. If you want to give a player of the game, boy, it's hard not to give it to Romero. He came in for the injured Barrett, went 3 for 4. So that's a possibility. Or you could give it to Stanley for pitching so well. You know, pick your person there if you want. As we turn the page to tomorrow, we'll be in Kansas City. California against Kansas City. Willie Frazier against Mark Gubaza, or Gubaza. If you're ID Jester, it's Gubaza, but if you're everybody else, it's Gubaza. It'll be game number 413 at Royal Stadium. Willie Frazier against Mark Gubaza. That'll be your game tomorrow morning, roughly 9 o'clock. I will be looking at doing some more Fall Classic, another Fall Classic exhibition sometime today. Don't know if it'll be live or Memorex. Figure it out. I'm working on doing working on learning OBS and trying to do a presentation in where the gameplay is done through OBS, so we get some of the computer graphics to replace the score sheet to show you the score, the line score, the who's at bat and where they are on base. I'm working on it. I'm not technically savvy, but I'm experimenting just to try different things, just to be different. But anyway, from here, and now with the loss, let's look at the standings and see what that did for the Tigers. Certainly not going to help the cause. Tigers now drop to 5.5 games back. They're actually a game and a half back of the Yankees now for 3rd place. But they're 5.5 back in the standings, 6 back in the loss column from the Brewers, who were 38-19. And the Tigers are now 33-25. Tigers are still 2 games better than what they were in the real season. Real world at this point, they were 31-27. Right now, they're 33-25. Boston's the one that's been behind. They're 23-38 on the replay. Real world at this point, they were 28-33. But the game tomorrow, Kansas City and California. California is in 2nd place at 32-28, 4 games behind the front-running Oakland A's. Kansas City is treading water at best, and it looks like they're probably capsizing. They're 27-30. They are 7.5 games back, so they are in must-win situations coming up. So that's good over from here. Hope you all have a great Wednesday, whatever you have planned. And until next time, enjoy playing whatever game you choose to play, however you choose to play it, and I'll see you all down the road.